and we'll just start at around 3 p.m. Thank you so much for attending.
Uh, this is Ashok Srinivasan here from Citrus. Thanks for joining this session. This session will focus on the leverage of artificial intelligence, the help of Intel, and how it can especially help in the healthcare industry. We all understand the gravity of situation we are into now with the prevalence of COVID and the kind of stress it has all of us at the personal level and also at the professional level. So here we would like to understand how by leveraging AI and ML, healthcare challenges can be addressed. That's the purpose of this session. Could we go to the next slide? Yeah. So the agenda has been broadly, split into two parts, I would say. The first one essentially focuses on some of the trends that we see in the region, in the industry, and how various capabilities can help leverage artificial intelligence, and then how it can address the industry specific and region specific challenges. And also we'll be in the second part, we'll be getting into a few specific use cases. In fact, we don't want it to be all talk. We want it to be live. We wanted to keep it lively with the help of a live demo. So we'll be showing you a demo of one of the solutions that we have built. And finally, there is an interesting part where you have an opportunity to win exciting prizes. We'll be ending it with a quiz. Okay, before we get into the session, let me make a quick introduction of myself. My name is Ashok Srinivasan. I head delivery in Citrus. I have more than 20 plus years of experience cutting across product management and service management. I work for large product organizations like Microsoft, SAP, and also for services organizations like TCS and Cognizant. And my area of focus is cloud computing, especially AWS and Azure, and DevOps and automation. These are my areas of strengths. With me, I have my colleague, Rahul Saraswat, who is a consultant, senior consultant focusing on emerging technologies. He has more than 6 years of experience in dealing with technologies like hyperscalers, IoT, data and analytics. And he has actually helped in development of multiple solutions for customers in the Middle East and Africa region, and helping them through the journey of digital transformation. He's also a certified AWS cloud practitioner, and he's also an AWS evangelist, empowering customer adoption and onboarding of different emerging technologies and services from various industries and segments. I'm also happy to introduce my other colleague, Ashok Reddy. who is actually an AML expert. He's also heading our practice on advanced analytics in Citrus Consulting Services. He plays the role of a senior consultant. He has more than five plus years of experience, especially focusing on the AML arena. Right? Yeah. Could we go to the next slide? So while we see that Western world has been quite efficient and quite quite adept at harnessing the power of AML. Rahul, I would like to understand what are the trends you see in our region, the MENA region, and where do you think, in your viewpoint, we fall? I mean, where do we fall? Are we low in adopting it, or are we accelerating it, or are we still on the catch-up mode? I would like to hear your viewpoints here. Over to you, Rahul.
Thank you so much, Ashok, for that kind introduction. So, Ashok, I've been in this region for about 6 years, and we've interacted with multiple customers, mid-market, SMB, enterprise, and partners dealing with these kind of customers within this region. Invariably, the conversation gravitates towards implementation of AI and ML technologies, because those are the glamorous buzzwords in today's day and age that customers intend to adopt. But the understanding of a wholesome requirement when it comes to technology, which on top of which an AI ML use case can be built, is where I personally have seen the gap. As you can see on the slide here, this is one of the studies done by PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's one of the largest consulting firms, globally. They say that the Middle East region has a potential of upwards of $320 billion of impact leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, when you look at a comparative analysis between the kind of economies that we see on the screen, we have the China, we have a cumulative power of North America, and UAE and KSA are very close to that. So clearly, there is no issues or there are no blockers or limitations in a leadership strategy in terms of evangelism or adoption at a high level, which is one of the blockers in the rest of the world. The larger problem statement with Middle East adoption has always emanated from the fact of having technology work in multiple silos. Now, when we look at this regionally, essentially what we understand is, specifically for the Middle East and Africa region, Boston Consulting Group, BCG, also did a study which said that over 20 to 34% of annual growth contribution could come from AI and ML use cases. It could mean, minimizing human intervention, in increasing automation, reducing, anthropogenic errors, which is essentially errors originating from human intervention or misdirection. When I look at specific country numbers, Egypt is one of key areas which could benefit from AI ML adoption. Almost up to 7.7% of GDP could be affected by just adopting AI ML across the board. KSA, Saudi has numbers show about 12.4%. UAE shows about 13.6%, and GC4, which includes countries like Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar, could benefit by an 8.2% growth in their GDP by adoption of AI ML use cases. The organizational, or rather the leadership, the government has been very vocal about promoting the use of emerging technologies like IoT, like artificial intelligence and machine learning across Middle East. You have initiatives in UAE like the Smart Dubai, like 3D printing, like the initiative for Dubai autonomous transportation. Saudi is doing exactly the same with healthcare adoption and AI ML services in healthcare. And in the current scenario, what makes it even more relevant is their impetus towards e-education and education learning platforms. So you see a lot of catalysis which is emanating from the current COVID scenario within the Middle East. Now, time will tell how far we can go with the actual adoption and implementation of these broad category use cases, Ashok.
Thanks, Rahul. I mean, that's quite heartening to know that we are no less than any of the other developed economies, and the emergence of artificial intelligence is quite heartening to know. Yeah, could we go to the next slide? Yeah, so I wanted to know specifically, with respect to the healthcare industry, we see a number of trends with respect to AML in the region, but I wanted to specifically understand, Rahul, on the healthcare front, where are the investments going and how is it helping the healthcare industry, right? We spoke about IoT, Bitcoin, and a number of other things, but I want to specifically understand how and where this is headed. I would like to understand your insight here.
Absolutely, Ashok. And I think it has become even more so relevant in the current global pandemic scenario to have a keen eye of focus on the healthcare space, because with a paradigm shift globally in terms of data consumption of people working remotely from their homes, people not having to step out as much as they would invariably, the importance of bringing machine learning and automation into the healthcare industry has taken a steep rise in terms of adoption. As we can see in terms of the healthcare industry trends, uh, this is a takeaway from what I was just discussing a couple of minutes back. Middle East, as you can see, has a potential of impact for about 63%. Okay, whereas in terms of implementation, we have only leveraged or harnessed the power up to about 10%. And this is again coming from Price Waterhouse Cooper's consultative study. What's interesting to see though is the fact that public willingness in adoption of AI ML within the region is extremely high. It's up to almost near 67%. But as I was saying previously, the understanding that you need different components of an entire ecosystem to work together seamlessly to actually harness a true 100% benefit of artificial intelligence and machine learning is where the blocker is, right? If we are able to, address that scenario, we will be able to help organizations in the healthcare industry as across the board and multiple other industries with similar benefits and facets. Just as a takeaway from this slide, what I would also like to point out that, as I was saying, while this study is a early 2020, before the pandemic hit, study done by PwC, there's another study in around the same time which was done by BCG, which aligns very much to the findings of PwC, where they specifically state that the demographic, the population of the Middle East is extremely adoptive towards AI and ML. They have no, qualms or worries about interacting with chatbots or having, a digital assistant or leveraging any of these use cases to minimize, human intervention, which is not the case in most of the other, Western economies, so as to say. They also go ahead and point out specific blockers, which align with what PwC has been consistently saying, which is the existing technology infrastructure to leverage AI and ML use cases forms the biggest bottleneck in terms of implementation and use case scenarios within the region. The justification for business value for even organizations and enterprises which want to experiment with AI ML has always been a challenge, because invariably what tends to happen is AI ML use cases are looked at in isolation and not as digital enterprise strategy or a enterprise data strategy, right? So to create a POC or focus on one specific voice enabled assistant or a chatbot, for example, there are a lot of components which run in the back end, which we will keep discovering through the course of this webinar, which are important to support the final AI ML use case. While the region boasts of extreme financial strength to experiment, uh, resource support in terms of organizations having internal teams or consulting and technology firms being in the region to support such initiatives has been, there has been a gap. in terms of supporting enterprise customers or supporting customers in terms of implementation of these innovative use case. And one of the most interesting blockers, Ashok, that I would want to highlight here is while when BCG reached out to to the general masses, and they stated a willingness of around over 67% as stated by PwC to adopt AI/ML use cases. Businesses traditionally still believed that healthcare is not a sector where customers would like to engage with artificial intelligence. They would still prefer a human intervention. So that's a very unique insight, that there is a disconnect between organizations and the end customers in terms of the actual belief system. Of course, this is validated. All of these are pre-COVID studies, but I think it would be a fair assumption at this point that in the current COVID scenario, uh, human intervention for medical would be avoided, and we could leverage more and more of AI/ML use cases to automate the entire ecosystem. So while I talk about the macro scopic, what the region is going through, I would also like to move into what exactly is the value that artificial intelligence and machine learning brings to the healthcare ecosystem. And one of the biggest points of benefit for organizations in the healthcare industry is definitely in the area of error reduction. Artificial intelligence and machine learning facilitates reduction of error and minimizes error which might emanate from carelessness, lack of data, sanitization, inconsistent data, and things like that. So because these are all automated models, they tend to give you consistent results across the board. Explorations, for example, what might be missed by the human eye, in diagnosis of certain diseases. AI and ML through the image recognition and video analysis can do it with far better time to market and help doctors and physicians with an expedited approach. It essentially elevates their base point from where they start their prognosis and diagnosis. Not only this, traditionally the Middle East has not been known as a destination for medical tourism because of lack of workforce that is able to support the medical requirements in the region. So a digital assistance, a voice command based assistant which helps nurses and doctors minimize the manual labor that goes into noting down customer queries or addressing each of these particular verbal concerns, could also be leveraged through AI and ML in the process of natural language understanding, NLU. So net AI, I'm just focusing on the three broadest use cases, which are fairly easy to implement. These do not require a rip and replace of the digital strategy of any organization. These are use cases which can work independently in silos and have no leverage or dependency on existing data platforms. So this is how we can help the healthcare sector to benefit from AI and ML perspective. Now when I speak in terms of the use cases that are getting a lot of focus in the Middle East with regards to the implementation of AI ML, disease identification is one of the most important use cases, where initially we will also be doing a demo, Ashok, to showcase one of the products that we've developed internally on the disease identification perspective. Now, while traditionally, let's say it's an X-ray scanning center, right? Traditionally a physician or a lab technician would come take the X-ray, based on their judgment and experience would push analyze the X-ray image and then push the same if they think that there is any concern to be addressed to the respective doctor. The doctor would restart at the same point of point zero and then take the conversation further, and only then does the end customer even find out if there is a concern to be addressed. With the implementation of AI and ML, we can every layer of the life cycle of this image can be a level up from the previous one. Now AI chatbot is a fairly common and well known use case leveraging AI. We have B2C appliances like Alexas and the Google Homes of the world and Series, who've been, helping people manage their lives a lot better. And the same can be leveraged across the board in the medical sector as well. Analytics powered decisions, while uh, the data models leveraging AI and ML are, purely quantifiable, and they look at quantifiable metrics, it becomes extremely, simple, and is extremely dependable in terms of helping the doctors and the decision makers within the healthcare ecosystem to take informed decisions based on key quantifiable metrics that they will be able to justify their analysis or prognosis with. And as I was saying, with regards to the virtual assistants, chatbots, virtual assistants work hand in hand and help make the lives of all those involved in the entire, life cycle of patient care a lot easier.
Thanks, Rahul. That was quite insightful. One of the key takeaways I noted down was, public willingness was 67%. However, business readiness is only 10%. So why do you see this kind of gap that exists, and how do you think that the gap can be addressed?
Right, Ashok. The irony of that entire statement lies while, we've seen uh, countries like India, countries in the Western world like Spain, manage or, work towards building vaccines. AI and ML for, COVID has seen widespread applications. Medical pharmaceutical organizations like AstraZeneca have, leveraged AI and ML technologies to browse through documentations to find commonalities between viruses for COVID-19. Now, they were able to do this because they were able to leverage data sources from across the board. You know, I'll take another leaf from what I was mentioning earlier. AI ML is not an isolated use case. Yes, there are a couple of, plug and play scenarios which, customers can look at experimenting or doing POCs with. But to truly harness the power that artificial intelligence brings to the forefront, there needs to be an integrated approach which brings in different facets of technology within an enterprise that the customers can leverage. We at Citrus Consulting look at this holistic approach. We do not tackle AI and ML as isolated use cases. We start from the ground up. In principle, we are a consulting organization at heart, and that is how we approach these conversations. Within Citrus Consulting services, we have five, key verticals which empower implementation of data and analytics use cases like AI and ML. Certain customers have a tendency to leverage are, or rather more favored towards adoption of, global hyperscalers like cloud. So we have a dedicated vertical which focuses on, leveraging global hyperscalers, on helping organizations undertake their digital transformation journey, minimize their on-premise infrastructure costs, leverage the operational efficiency and ease of deployment of the cloud. The entire team is supported by certified individuals across multiple hyperscalers. We have a dedicated team which focuses on endpoints. Now, if you have to leverage any IoT use case, there has to be dedicated focus on endpoint technology, on the protocols of communication, on end-to-end encryption for data in transit, as well as data at rest. So we have an entire team which focuses on, IoT and connected solutions. Data and analytics is the topic of our discussion today. So needless to say, we are supported by a robust team. One of the practice leads we have on the call with us as well, wherein we have data management experts, visualization experts, data analysts, business consultants, across the board, end-to-end data lifecycle management. That's what we support our customers. And security is job zero at Citrus Consulting. Before we go in for any business use case implementation, it is the first thing that we ensure is the data secure? Is the connections and the data in transit or at rest, is it secure? Is the encryptions in place end to end across the board? And we've been blessed to be supported by such a wide varied of skill set, which supports the final implementation of AI ML use cases across, multiple global delivery centers, based out of Saudi, based out of UAE, and based out of India. Though we are headquartered in Dubai, We serve markets through a parent entity, Redington, in North Africa, West Africa, East Africa, and with dedicated focus towards South Africa as well. Now, while I speak about the complementary services that empower or enable AI implementation of AI ML use cases, I would like to focus just a few minutes on the dedicated AI ML capabilities that we bring to the table and our expertise with regards to the same. Now, multiple of our customers often reach out to us, having a very base premise of the conversation, which states that I want to implement an AI ML strategy, or I want to implement an X use case or a Y use case. Tell me what is it that I need to do, which is where our first vertical within advanced analytics comes, which is the strategy and advisory vertical, where we help our customers define a data enterprise data strategy. We help understand their ecosystem. Where are their data located? What are different forms of data? What is it that they want to achieve in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years? We divide these goals into short term, mid term, long term, undertake a consultative approach, and we build a risk assessment matrix for our customers, which helps them enable our data transformation strategy. So that's the strategy and advisory vertical that focuses on the same. Excuse me. With regards to the pure implementation of the use cases or the recommendations that we've suggested, we have a team which focuses on data science and artificial intelligence consulting, wherein we focus on customers, helping them across multiple facets of building models. We not only build these models, we help them automate these models as well through AI driven automation. So there is no manual intervention required, and we empower our customers to be able to take care of their AI and ML implementations on their own through these automated principles. Now, none of these is possible if we do not have a dedicated team of advanced, data scientists, which help in development of, AI solutions and model development, right? Multiple scenarios wherein there are pre-existing solutions from, vendors like SAP, like Microsoft, like, Amazon, for example. So we do not believe in reinventing the wheel. If there is an image recognition, product out there in the market, it does not make sense for us to start from ground zero all over again. We leverage these existing products. We help customize it to our customers' needs, and with a focus towards optimizing the total cost of ownership for our end customers, we implement these solutions as well. Does that help you, Ashok, to understand how we can bridge the gap between public willingness and actual implementation?
Absolutely, Rahul. Thanks for sharing those insights. Yeah.
Now, with regards to how we are able to help customers minimize the time to market, and I'll quickly skim through a few of the differentiators that we bring to the table. Our dedicated team of data analytics has helped create multiple intellectual properties, which are turnkey solutions and out of the box deployments for our end customers. So where traditionally you would start from ground zero and do an entire requirement gathering session, and the time for eventual deployment would increase tremendously. We bring our own customized templates, which we customize based on a customer inputs. The entire implementation approach is technology agnostic. We bring in no biases towards any particular tool or technology, and we also help our customers through multiple POCs. We leverage our in-house innovation lab to undertake multiple of these POCs, wherein we have something like a mini data center, so as to say, within one of the Redington offices, and these data centers are spread across locations in Saudi as well as in Kenya, where we help customers undertake complex POCs for certain use cases and derive and see the value in real life.
That's good to hear, Rahul. It's quite exciting to know about the dedicated innovation lab you have. Now, how is it helping our customers and partners? Could you talk about a few specific scenarios that how it's helping our customers?
Absolutely, Ashok. I'll to answer this, I'd like to bring in quickly use case and focus. This is one of the more complex use cases that we've built, over the last couple of years. It's for privacy-driven elderly care. Now, a lot of elderly, families live within the region without having, proper medical supervision, especially scenarios like tripping and falling. That's one of the key assets or the problems. Besides that, there have been instances of social isolation leading to mental wellness issues. So we developed this unique solution which keeps in mind the privacy of the inhabitants of the house, where we use lidar sensors. Now these are infrared sensors which create a point cloud image of the ecosystem that they are situated in. Based on AI ML, models leveraging Python, we created models which, based on rate of change of movement of any point within the point cloud, could determine or could trigger an alert to the necessary medical authorities in a scenario of a trip and fall. All of these was hosted, on a cloud platform, which is all powered by, Intel services. We've got a couple of quick snapshots of how the final, dashboard looked like, wherein we were measuring key metrics like the actual position of the elderly gentleman or lady in question, their average activity during different types of the day. The model was so trained that it could also highlight on anomalies, which would, probably be an indicator of, future illnesses or any other problems that might exist. Now, while this is a complex use case and in theory there are a lot of moving parts, we were able to showcase this with true value at our innovation center. With probably on the next slide you'll be able to see, we were able to not only bring the actual endpoint into the ecosystem, we were also able to showcase the sheer value it created on the dashboards uh, from an end-to-end ecosystem perspective. So we had the lidar sensors, we had the connectivity in place within the innovation lab, and we were able to showcase the end product. The customer could actually visualize a change in movement and see it impacting the dashboard in near real time.
So this seems to be a combination of IoT, harnessing the power of Intel and analytics. Could you also talk about a few specific AML use cases?
Sure. Could you move on the next slide, please? So at this point, because we're talking specifically about, AI ML, I would, bring in a key expert, data scientist and practice lead for advanced analytics and AI ML use cases, Mr. Ashok Reddy, to help you guide through our AI ML, use cases that we've built in the past. Ashok?
Yes, Rahul. Thank you for your introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashok, we can. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Rahul. Thank you for the kind introduction. Now I will go through some of the use cases that Citrus solved in artificial intelligence and machine learning space across different domains and industries. So firstly, I will start with one of the use case that we solved, that is sentiment analysis on COVID-19. So to harness the power of computing, we created a use case, in-house use case, to collect the data related to COVID-19 from different social media platforms to generate the sentiments and as well as the associated insights. So for this, how we develop the solution is we created a data pipeline, so which will collect the data from different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we used to store it in a data lake. So post proper study what kind of data we have. So based on the data, we created multiple KPIs like sentiment of the text. We predicted for every text we predicted the sentiment using our built automated model, which predicts the sentiment of any text, and also other KPIs like creating the word clouds mainly on negative sentiments, and what is the context of those sentiments, and also other trends that are you can see in the slide. There are like who are the top influencers and which region has most number of tweets, and from where the trends. So these are the different KPIs we captured to harness the power of computing to understand exactly how these use cases fits into different social media data.
That's good to hear, Ashok. I mean, this is a fantastic use case on leveraging AML for doing sentiment analysis, and here it's a gathering of digital systems. Can you also talk about an use case where we have leveraged analog data, that is data coming from various analog systems, say devices and so on. Could you also talk about such a use case?
Yes, Ashok, absolutely. So, yeah, we developed solutions for analog devices also. So, we implemented a smart office solution for a largest technology distribution company in the Middle East, in the MENA region. So, basically, the whole motive of this use case is how we can save energy in office premises and do some predictive maintenance, and also how we can analyze the footfall of employees in the office premises. This is the main motive to solve this use case. So to solve this use case, we developed more than 100 plus IoT devices in the offices. So the IoT device consists of smart lights, smart ACs, webcams, and other devices. So first of all, in order to tackle this kind of huge number of IoT devices, we need to store the data. So we created a data pipeline to input the live streaming data without any latency, and store all the device activities into the data lake. So how we tackle each solution, like energy consumption and saving energy consumption, predictive maintenance, I will go through one by one how we did that. So I will take an example, and I will explain you. Generally, after meeting in a conference room, sometimes people used to forget to switch off their ACs and lights, right? So this causes unnecessary energy consumption. Like they will keep on forgetting, and the energy consumption keep on increasing. So we automated this process by applying some intelligence as well as some business rules to overcome the energy consumption issue based on the historical trends and patterns, how the energy consumed, historical, and also other insights we took from the data that we collected, and then we created the models which will models both with intelligence as well as some business rules. So, and other problem I mentioned is predictive maintenance. So exactly how we identify whether we need to do some maintenance for a device or equipment. So first of all, we need to determine the condition of the equipment in order to estimate whether the maintenance is required. Is it necessary to do the maintenance? So for this, we developed a predictive maintenance model based on the historical data that we collected from all the different IoT sensors, like smart lights, smart ACs. So this helps to perform the service. This model will help us to perform the service of task on time using our model. So, and also it helps us to track the health of the device also, like when the device might get, when we need again maintenance for the device. So this we implemented, not only this we implemented throughout the office, even energy consumption also we implemented throughout the office. And also another use case I mentioned, like footfall analysis. So with we have placed multiple webcams in the office, so in order to gather the data. So how this helped us is with footfall analysis, we were able to identify which regions has more number of interactions. If you see the slide, there are places, you can see the heat map where there are the intensity of this particular graph represents that there is a more number of interactions happened in this particular place. So these kind of insights will help us in efficient seat allocation, or understanding which particular region of company has more number of interactions. What else? We can implement many solutions based on the data that we are collecting. So this is how we used analog devices to apply our AI and ML capabilities to build the solutions.
Great, Ashok. So it looks like a very complex solution with a mix of analog and digital systems and digital data. Looks like a lot of data. It requires a lot of compute storage. So how did you go about achieving this? Because end of the day, the cost of the solution should not override the benefit. While it offers a lot of benefits, I hope you took care of the cost. And how did you take care of the compute that it required? Huge amount of compute it required.
Yes, sir. Yes, Ashok, absolutely. So we need to handle both technology as well as price so that we can give the efficient solution. So to solve this kind of big data issues, like right, so Intel has developed different kind of processes to deal with such huge amount of data. Uh, and the specific thing is Intel process has predefined settings and frameworks, which will help the process of model training a bit faster, and also it is easy to deploy the overall solution. So, and also another thing is since I mentioned it is huge amount of data, so we can leverage Intel distributed computing to distribute workloads across different machines, so that our model training jobs can be split parallelly get to make the model training process faster and also easy. So, and another interesting thing is before I talk about IoT devices. So especially Intel process supports all IoT devices that is currently in market. And also there are, when you talk about Intel IoT devices, so you have to talk about edge locations also, because most of the things is deployed at edge locations. So Intel Edge server, there are, and the fantastic thing is Intel Edge servers bring powerful data processing, analytics, and what else, AI capabilities closer to the point of data generation. So that will reduce the latency to the end customer. And also to speak about another thing is about, especially I spoke about AI IoT, but what kind of process we will use for AI and ML jobs, for training AI and ML jobs. So Intel has developed Intel Xeon processors, which is high performance and reliable to accelerate the compute process. So I will go through some of the frameworks that Intel has inbuilt frameworks that Intel Xeon processors has. So these are the different frameworks that Intel has, which is there in their inbuilt Xeon processors. So I will just quickly go through one by one. So MKLDNN, it is a math kernel library for deep neural networks. So basically, I think you heard about TensorFlow, Cafe, SNet, MXNet, GoogleNet. These are the different deep learning frameworks that generally people use for training the either image recognition model or any kind of deep learning jobs. So particularly this library helps us to reduce the model training from hours to minutes, because it is already predefined settings helps us to reduce the model training. And also, if you take Intel processor graphics, whenever you want to use GPU, because nowadays we need huge computing, some of the jobs might take some days to complete. So you can leverage Intel processor graphics to do such kind of jobs also. And another specific thing is Intel has a deep learning inference accelerator. So how it will helps is it particularly accelerate convolutional neural networking workloads for image recognition. So basically, it comes pre-programmed with image recognition models. So you can directly take your images. If it is similar to such kind of framework, then you can directly plug and play with the such kind of libraries. Even compute library for deep neural network, it will also helps us to accelerate all deep learning and machine learning jobs.
Well, it's quite interesting to know about. Now, tell me something. How have you been able to use these capabilities and harness them in addressing healthcare challenges? Could you walk
Yes.
us through a use case or a demo of that?
Sure, Ashok. Yeah, we have one use case. Means we have multiple use case. I will go through one of the use case that we built in healthcare industry. We built for healthcare industry by leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning with the help of Intel processors. So this particular use case we solved for one of the medical visa screening center who screens for different diseases like hepatitis, HIV, and tuberculosis. So what is the problem that here we solved is the main problem we solved is in day-to-day radiologists get multiple X-ray images. So it will be hectic for them to identify all the disease conditions in all the X-rays. So because of this, there might be a error prone. There might be some errors in the decisions, as well as it will take time for them to go through all the images and identify the disease conditions. So in order to reduce the workload of radiologists, and also to make the process quicker and automated and also error prone, we developed a model which will basically it will predict the probability of person having a tuberculosis or not, because this model is specifically built for identifying whether a person has probability of person having a tuberculosis. So so basically it will help radiologists to go through. There is no need for radiologists to go through all the X-rays. So instead of that, our model will create a filter saying that if the probability of person having tuberculosis, if it is greater than maybe 40%, that depends on the business rules and decisions, then pass only those images to the doctor, so that he can identify whether this person has tuberculosis or not. So, and it will be a continuous loop, like we keep on getting the feedback from the either doctor or lab technician or radiologist, so that we can keep on training the model, which will improve the efficiency of the model, and we will reduce false positives. So I will briefly explain about the architecture, also how we develop this particular solution. So we collected the X-ray samples. So in this X-ray samples, a huge amount of X-ray samples. In this we have X-rays of healthy patients and also X-rays of patients having tuberculosis. So we took all these all these images into our innovation lab that Rahul discussed earlier, and our innovation lab also has Intel Xeon processors with the above mentioned framework that I mentioned before, which makes our model training time lesser. So we took all these images and we trained the model, and then we stored the model artifacts in one of the server, and then so how we use this model is whenever you will get the live feed of X-ray images from imaging software, you can directly take that images, pass that images to train your trained model, and then whatever predictions, like your predictions, you can store that predictions into not only predictions, you can store the patient information as well as predictions into your database, and the details can be plugged into any web application or mobile application, or you can generate many insights from those data. So this is the solution that we implement, as you asked, Ashok. This is the solution that we implemented for one of the medical screening center.
Yeah, very interesting, Ashok. Could you also demo it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I will just go through a quick demo also on this. Now you are seeing just whatever solution architecture I explained, everything is a backend, but how exactly it will works in the real time, I will just show you. So let us assume a doctor or technician wants to log into their portal where they can get the predictions of a particular X-ray that they want to see. So they can log in and they can log in. They can log in with their credentials, and then they can. So I'm just showing you the demo. Like, so suppose lab technician or doctor, they want to browse the image and they want to see the predictions of a particular X-ray. Then they can upload the image. This is for demo purpose. I am just showing, but it can be it is automated already. So you can upload the image. So I am just uploading a healthy patient image. So, and I'm sending it to the model so that model can give the predictions. So I got the response from the model saying that the model said that patient is healthy. Why the patient is healthy? Because it found the probability of person having tuberculosis is 0.39%. That means it is not even 1%. It is saying that this person has tuberculosis. So we can eliminate such kind of X-rays, passing it to the doctor. Because the model is confident that it thrown not even 1% probability of patient having tuberculosis. So I will take another image where the person has tuberculosis, and I will send this particular image to the model. So now this particular patient has the model predicted that the probability of this patient having tuberculosis is 71.58%. So here, since the probability of a patient having tuberculosis is too high, so what basically we can do is we can send this report to doctor so that he can go through that particular X-ray and he can take the further necessary actions or something. So I will show one more X-ray of person having tuberculosis. Yeah. So for this also we are the model is predicting like 67.10% this person has this particular person has tuberculosis, and we have set up a threshold saying that if the probability is more than 40%, then send a report to doctor. So with this kind of solution, so there are many futures for this. One is as we keep on increasing the data, the accuracy will keep on increasing, and also another thing is since I already mentioned about how we are leveraging Intel to make the process to process the large amount of data in seconds. So that Intel helps us here processing huge amount of data, and also we can integrate this with any kind of softwares. Either it might be ERP, or so that we can get a patient 360-degree vision also, so that you can check all the information in one portal. So yes, Ashok. So this is the demo that
yeah,
we
that was quite interesting, Ashok. And what the benefits I realize are, one, it helps reduce the workload on the overworked staff, right? And on the other hand, it also reduces the amount of error that can creep in through automation, right? Very exciting.
yes, sir.
True application of AML, I guess, which we could practically see. Now, Rahul and Ashok, it was a brief session, but I felt that I learned a lot. Starting from region to industry to capabilities to use cases to demo, you're quite insightful, and both at the macro level and I would also say at the micro level, right? Now, a few questions for you, Rahul, right? So, where do you see the future of AML holding with respect to cloud, right? It's a very powerful combination. So where do you see this combination headed?
Absolutely, Ashok. I think, while the use case that, Ashok Reddy showcased right now contains a lot of PII, which we refer to as, personally identifiable information, and, laws governing the residence of these kind of data formats is very strict. This use case in principle is just a very small example of what truly could be done with sure, with something as simple as an image recognition in the AI ML space. Now, when you couple that with cloud technology, you are essentially taking away the capex or the investment, upfront investment cost that is required to experiment. Cloud in principle is a fail fast approach. It's an opex approach as compared to a heavy investment kind of a approach. uh, Data scientists will no longer explicitly required to custom code or manage infrastructure. There are existing models and codes that are prevalent on global hyperscalers like Microsoft, Amazon, SAP, across the board, which data scientists like Ashok can leverage and reduce the time to market tremendously. Right, it will help these systems scale beyond the point, and it will help generation of new models and further customization and innovation to deliver faster and more accurate results.
Okay, that's fantastic. The other question I had was, where do you see the powerful combination of Intel and cloud? Which way they are headed, and how do you think they can help transform business?
Oh, so Ashok, that's a very important question, because invariably a lot of customers think that a lot of my data resides in the cloud, while all of your conversations circumnavigated around Intel and harnessing the power of Intel. How will you do that when I am on AWS, or I'm on Azure, or I'm on GCP or on Oracle? Now, the beauty of all of this is the underlying infrastructure, pretty much remains of Intel. Uh, Clouds powered by Intel technologies deliver reliable, scalable, and workload optimized performances across enterprise applications. Just to give you a quick example, in the interest of time, we are working with an organization currently which has heavy workloads which they use for satellite image processing. Now you can understand that each image would be of substantial size, and doing an analysis would require a high performance, GPU, graphic processing unit. Now, their data is in the cloud, and where we are using Intel powered, instances to support, the entire compute, and we realized that over 15% of time is getting saved in terms of processing speed when we are doing it on the cloud with Intel verified instances, as compared to doing it traditionally on premise.
Oh, great. Okay. I must thank you and Ashok for these deep insights and sharing a lot of valuable information. And Ashok, thanks especially to you for walking us through the demo. Now I think it's time for the participants to pitch in and start deriving some benefit, I guess, right? So I'll pass it to Chanakya. I think it's time for the quiz, right?
Yes, hi, I'm ready. Yes, I think we'll switch to the quiz right now.
Yeah.
All right, just give me a second. Rahul, can you please confirm if you're able to see my screen?
Absolutely, Chanakya.
Great. All right, I would like to request all the participants to kindly put this URL in the address bar. That is polef.com/moneyplant085. I'll be putting it in the chat box as well. Yes, I put the link in the chat box. I think everyone should be able to access it. It's polef.com/moneyplant085. Rahul, can you confirm if you can view the link?
Yes, Chanakya, we can view the link.
All right, great. We'll take a pause for about a minute or two so that everyone can join in, and then we shall commence the quiz. We'll start the quiz in the next 15 seconds. I hope everyone is able to log in. All right, I think we'll start with the quiz now. A time of 20 seconds will be given to answer each question. After 20 seconds, you will not be able to answer any longer. The marking of the quiz will also will not only be based on the correct answer, but will also be based on how quickly you respond to the question. So we'll start at the quiz now. We are here with the first question. Which is one of the major value AI brings to the healthcare ecosystem? And following are the options. All right. The correct answer is error reduction. Moving ahead. This is how our current leaderboard looks like, with the Amulya, Nirup, and Kiran all on top, and Tom on the second, and SPR on third number. The second question for the quiz is, which is the most popular use case of AI ML in Middle East? Following are your options. All right. And the correct answer is AI chatbot. Seems like only 27% of you could get that right. We have Nirup and Kiran competing for the first position. Moving ahead, the use of AI is incorporated into healthcare to help providers. Following are the options. All right. The correct answer is make the best decision for the patient. We now have Kiran Kumar on the top for the first position, Nirup on second, and Subin on third. The next question is, which is one of the key Intel deep learning framework? The following are the options. All right then. The correct answer is MKL-DNN. We have Kiran Kumar on top with 4,000 points. Moving ahead for the last question. Which is the best?
Yes, we can hear you. Do you want to share your screen?
Which is the best suitable Intel processor for AI/ML? Following are the options.
Now can you check? Yes.
Intel Xeon is the correct answer. We would like to congratulate Kiran, Nirup, and Tom for securing the positions.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Chanakya, for that, fun activity. I'm assuming you'll be sending some gifts across to the winners.
Yes,
on the
that's right, Kiran.
Great, lovely, lovely. So, Chanakya, would you also kindly share the feedback form or the link where the attendants can, share their feedback on the session?
Definitely, I am dropping the link right now in the chat box. We would love if everyone could just take a small feedback form session, and we would love to hear from them.
Great. To all the people who attended, thank you so much for your time, for your patience. I hope this was a session which helped you learn a little bit more from before the session started about the scope and the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and how Intel has enabled and empowered us to leverage the same not only within this region but also globally. In a certain scenario where you would like to get in touch with us and have a consultation regarding AI ML use cases, digital transformation on the cloud, data analytics, IoT, security, or infrastructure services, feel free to reach out to Chanakya over the email or to any of us on the credentials that you saw on the webinar. So thank you so much, everyone, for your kind time and your patience and your presence. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Mr. Ashok. Thank you, Shom. Thank you so much for the session. That brings us to the end of the session. Thank you for taking part in the session. Kindly fill out the feedback form. The link is there in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.